Chapter 1756. No, it should be said that on the day of Tang's college entrance examination, her adoptive parents both died in a car accident. How could they open a snack bar outside Tang's college? Also, why did she have a fever and was sent to the emergency room for a month during the college entrance examination? According to the original track, she should have been admitted to that college. Even if it's the butterfly effect caused by your transmigration, you haven't done anything yet. How could it affect so far away? Hearing this, Tang Kui laughed in a low voice. That's why you can only rely on me. If you were a stupid host, would you still have the chance to get the reward from the excellent system every year? Hearing Tang Kui's words, 111 said in horror, Host, did you already know something was wrong? When? Why didn't you tell me? Why didn't I notice it at all? Because you're stupid and blind. How could you notice it? What's the use of discussing with a stupid teammate like you? These changes don't affect my mission. On the contrary, the result is quite good. Why should I care so much? So, what his host meant was that as long as it didn't affect his mission, no matter what strange things happened, it didn't matter, right? He always felt that his host was in the wrong line of work. How could such a person be a task taker? He didn't care about what he did. If it didn't affect him, he didn't care. He didn't look like a member of the Space Administration at all. Instead, he was more like a member of the opposite party. Of course, he could only whisper these words in his heart. He didn't dare to say it out loud. The feeling of being thrown into Xiaohei's house to reflect on one's mistakes was not so good. 111 said pitifully, Host, I want to ask, why did these changes happen? Host, you're a wise and smart person. You must know it. Tang Kui seemed to be in a good mood. He said patiently, Before I met my sister, I suspected that there were 3 people who changed these things. They were Tanggua, Chen Xian, and Zhao Wen. As for Tangyi's problem, I guess it's because Chen Xian and Zhao Wen are fine. Because of the backlash of the lucky charm, she suddenly had a high fever in the examination room. 111 was curious. What about now? Who was the one who was wrong? Yes, he was stupid, but he was also smart. For example, he had hugged a golden thigh and refused to let go. He was shameless and shameless. That was the right thing to do. The Space Administration only looked at the results, not the process. He was willing to be an amusing system for the host. Based on my analysis, this strange person should be my baby sister. Tang Kui's lips curled into a smile. She's much smarter than I thought, 111 said in shock. Then, has she been reborn? Tang Kui chuckled. You 3 little ones, I suggest you go to the little dark room and think about this problem. Think clearly before you come out. 111 said fearfully, What about the gift selection? All right, go and pick out the best gift. You don't have to save money for me. After escaping the little black room, 111 hurriedly went to choose a gift. With his stupid appearance, it was better not to stay here and be an eyesore to the host. Dad, Mom, isn't this but very convenient? Tanggua was recommending the garbage sorting masters, but to Chen Xian and Zhao Wen. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, you have to be calm. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1757. The 2 of them had just arrived at the snack bar, so they did not know many people. As for the problem of garbage sorting, the 2 of them had studied it thoroughly. The garbage in the kitchen was a little more troublesome. Although it was not too troublesome, it was still quite time-consuming to sort it out carefully every day. Basically, the employees of the company would pick up the garbage at a designated time. It was cheap and very convenient. It saved a lot of effort. Although many shops had employees who were there to take out the garbage, they did not want to spend a lot of money. But in this snack bar, the people who sorted the garbage were usually the ones doing it. Most of the time, they only started to do it when the shop was about to close. They were busy until late every day. Tanggua suggested this to them. Firstly, she wanted them to be more relaxed. Secondly, she wanted to give some people a chance. Trash CEO. She was a little interested in this kind of man. After the couple was recommended to the garbage sorting company, they placed an order on the same day. Basically, the garbage sorting company would only come to collect the garbage when the number of customers on the street reached a certain number. Taoyu's garbage sorting company, in addition to collecting garbage, also came with a garbage disposal terminal. The disposal method was very environmentally friendly and advanced. That was why he was awarded a national award. He had made money, gained fame, done good deeds, and supported a large number of people. How could he not be praised? What kind of person was Taoyu? The first time he saw the young girl, he already had someone in his mind. After thinking about it for 2 days, he felt that he could not see her and felt uncomfortable. Naturally, he went to find out where the young girl was now. He heard that her adoptive parents ran a snack bar. He had already had his eyes on the snack bar and even asked people to keep an eye on it. Just as he guessed, Tangwa would definitely use his garbage sorting company to place an order. President Tao, that snack bar has placed an order. Go and collect the garbage for them. But Chairman Tao, they haven't reached the designated number of customers yet. I estimate that they'll arrive in 2 hours. In the future, no matter how many orders there are, as long as they place an order, even if it's only one shop, even if it's in the middle of the night, you all go and collect the garbage. Those who collect the garbage will have their wages increased by 3 times. This time, no one was unwilling to do it. After they left, Taoyu also prepared to leave the company. He still had matters to attend to, so of course, he couldn't stay in the office. When the people from the garbage sorting company came over, Chen Xian and Zhao Wen saw that they were cleaning up the garbage swiftly. The price was not expensive, so they felt a lot more relaxed. Although sorting the trash wasn't that troublesome, it was still more time-consuming. They had to cook every day, so it was quite tiring. At this time, it was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There were basically no customers in the shop. However, there was a car parked next to the garbage truck outside the store. A man got out of the car. He glanced at the snack bar and finally walked in. Chen Xian and Zhao Wen hurriedly greeted him. After seeing the family Tang and all kinds of red queens, they were not surprised at all why someone would drive a luxury car to eat in a snack bar. They also understood that their own snacks might really be extraordinary. They were very delicious. Although they ate it, it was all right. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't particularly delicious either. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character.
Calm down.
Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1758. Taoyu found a place to sit down and ordered 2 snacks. The couple naturally went in to make fresh snacks for him. Their snacks were always fresh, which was why they were so popular. The waiters in the shop were not working at this time, so Zhao Wen called for Tangua. Xiaogua, there's a guest. Go and pour a cup of tea for the guest. When Tangua came out with the teapot, she saw Taoyu sitting steadily in his seat. Taoyu was looking at his phone with his head buried in his hands. That pretentious look really made the system want to laugh to death. If it didn't know that the host's big cutie would definitely find an excuse to come here, it would really believe that this was just a coincidence. Sure enough, when Tangua poured a cup of tea for him, he was just about to say thank you when he looked up and saw Tangua. He changed the topic and said with a bit of surprise, Xiaogua? Brother Tao, why are you here? Tangua pretended not to know anything and asked while pouring tea for Taoyu. Taoyu raised his phone and showed it to Tangua. Isn't there a very delicious snack shop on the internet recently? My brother also likes these snacks, so I plan to come and take a look. If it's hygienic and tastes good, I'll bring him here next time. Why didn't I know about Taoyu's brother, Tao Hao? Why didn't my brother tell me about this? So it's like this? Brother Tao is afraid that the snack shop is not hygienic and is not as good as the internet says, so you came here to see the situation. If it's good, you'll bring your brother here. If it's not good, you'll take some small photos to show your brother how bad the shop is, right? The system laughed, digging a hole for itself. It's still the same as before. The host is also the same, always likes to tease people. No, actually, to be able to be liked by so many people, I don't think there's any problem with hygiene. Taoyu looked straight into Tangua's beautiful eyes, afraid that she would misunderstand something, so he quickly explained, Today, I was just passing by and suddenly thought of this, so I wanted to come in and try it first. Actually, I was also attracted by it. I didn't expect to meet Xiaogua here. Oh right, Xiaogua. Why are you here? He obviously knew everything, but he still pretended to ask. Tangwa did not expose her. She said that this was her foster parents' snack bar, and that they often helped out here. So that's how it is. Since the topic had been opened, Taoyu pointed at the garbage truck outside. Have you also placed an order? Yeah, it's all thanks to Big Brother Tao. I think that Big Brother Tao's buttocks and service should be pretty good, so I told my parents. Today, they plan to try it out, and it's as good as expected. Taoyu unconsciously took out a card from his pocket. Then I'll give you a gold membership card. Your brother and I are good friends, so I hope you won't refuse. What is this membership card for? Taoyu spat out, lifetime 30% discount, garbage collection, system haha. Sure enough, he was a trashy CEO. The things he gave were also different. A trashy gold membership card with a 30% discount. There was no one else who could do this. Only Taoyu could think of something like this. He had made such a big fuss just to personally deliver a rubbish membership card to Tangwa. Since Big Brother Tao is like this, I won't be polite. After all, he had already used her brother as an excuse. If she didn't accept it, it would cause him to be busy for half a day. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, chat about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1759. My dear host, I guess there should be a top-level card, which may be a lifetime membership card and free garbage collection. I'm guessing that he wants to give you that, but he's afraid of causing unnecessary misunderstandings. He's planning to approach you step by step, and when the time comes, it'll be logical. This guy is very careful in everything he does. He has a good plan. Fortunately, he met my dear host who can pretend to know nothing. If it was another person who knows what he is thinking, Chen Xian and Zhao Wen also knew that Taoyu and Tangwa knew each other. He was a good friend of Tangwa's brother and had helped Tangwa before. They also knew that he was the founder of Garbage, Sorting Master. In an instant, they looked at Taoyu in a different way. In their eyes, such a young man who kept pace with the times was really excellent. Knowing that Taoyu gave them a garbage membership card, they said that today's snacks were treated to Taoyu. If he wanted to eat it in the future, they would give him a discount. In fact, according to their character, it was possible to directly say that it was free. But Taoyu was not short of money. If they said it was free, Taoyu might be embarrassed. It was more appropriate to say that it was a discount. Taoyu behaved very well in front of the two. They chatted with each other, and there was no generation gap at all. No matter what they said, Taoyu could answer. In short, in the eyes of the couple, this was a very excellent young man. The system clicked its tongue. It wanted to deal with the host's adoptive parents first. They were so smart. It was Friday. Tomorrow was Saturday. On Saturday night, the family Tang held a banquet for Tangwa. On Friday afternoon, Tang Yi appeared in the snack bar with several of her friends. Tang Yi originally wanted to eat the snacks in the snack bar. After a week of school, she made an appointment with her friends to eat on Friday because there was a party on Saturday. She did not expect to see Tangwa here. At the same time, she remembered that she had seen Tangwa somewhere before. It turned out that the first time they met was in this snack bar. If she guessed correctly, the reason why Tangwa was recognized was most likely because her parents brought her to the snack bar to eat snacks. When they saw Tangwa, they thought she looked a little like the younger Mrs. Tang. Yes, when she went back and looked through the photos, she realized that Mrs. Tangwa and the young Mrs. Tang had a 70% resemblance. Tang Yi had mixed feelings when she came to this conclusion. At that time, she was thinking that if she hadn't insisted on coming to this shop to eat snacks, Father and Mother Tang wouldn't have met Tangwa. If he couldn't meet Tangwa, he wouldn't be able to find Tangwa. If they couldn't find Tangwa, she would forever be their only daughter. The originally delicious snack, in Tang Yi's mouth, was actually tasteless. It was because of her gluttony that she ended up like this. She hated herself a little. Tangwa was her parents' daughter, but she was actually thinking about these things. Tang Yi's appearance was seen by Tangwa. Neither she nor Tang Kui took the initiative to do anything excessive to Tang Yi. But Tang Yi was entangled and even regretted it because of her own imagination. It was obvious that Tang Yi was going to follow the old path. Little E, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with the taste? Tang Yi heard Tanggua's question and quickly shook her head. No, no, it's delicious. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character.
Calm down.
Look, talk about life. Chapter 1760. I haven't eaten such delicious food for a week, and I'm tired from studying, so I'm a little tired. Then eat quickly and go back to rest. Tanggua said with a smile. I felt that I had seen you before, and now I remember that you've been here before. Tang Yi's face changed a little, but soon she smiled again. Yes, it turns out that this restaurant belongs to your adoptive parents. Auntie and uncle are really good at cooking such delicious food. Especially when she saw Chen Xian and Zhao Wen doting on Tanggua, she felt sad in her heart. Why was there such a big difference between people? Even if Tanggua was lost, she didn't suffer any hardship. Even if her adoptive parents were not rich, Tanggua still lived a happy life. Now for Tanggua, they gave up their original business and spent a lot of money to open a restaurant here. How much did they love Tanggua? So did her parents. Tanggua had been lost for more than 10 years, but they didn't forget her. Instead, they remembered her more and more deeply. But she was different. Even if her parents were still alive, they didn't dote on her so much. She remembered that when she was very young, about 3 or 4 years old, her parents always quarreled with each other, and her mother often beat her. Later, both of them died in an accident, and her grandparents didn't recognize her because she was a girl. Those relatives didn't care about her at all. No one wanted such a burden. In the end, she was sent to the orphanage. As for Tanggua, it seemed that no matter where she went, she was always the center of attention. So many people liked her. Xiao Yi, who is she? Is she your friend or classmate? After Tanggua went in, Tang Yi's friends couldn't help but ask her. Tang Yi certainly couldn't lie. After all, these friends would see Tanggua at the banquet tomorrow night, and they would know her identity. She took a deep breath and said, She's my parents' biological daughter. She's Tanggua. This restaurant is owned by her adoptive parents. Really? Her friends were very surprised. Then they looked at Tanggua with a complicated look. Previously, they had all thought that Tanggua, who had been raised outside, would definitely not be as good as them, the legitimate young ladies. Who would have thought that with her slender figure, fair skin, cherry-like lips, and oval face, she was so much prettier than them? Her voice sounded extremely sweet, and her temperament was not weakened by her appearance or voice. No matter how one looked at her, she looked like a rich young lady. Tang Yi didn't have a good time eating with her friends this time. She said that she would go back after eating with them. On the way back, her friend reminded her softly, Xiaoyi, I think this rich young lady is not simple. You have to be careful. I did a check before, and her grades are pretty good. With her grades, she could have applied for a better school, but in the end, she chose this place. I suspect that she knew something in advance. Is that so? Tang Yi didn't believe it. After all, if Tanggua really knew her real identity, why didn't she find her home by herself? It was all thanks to her gluttony that she was able to meet her parents. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to meet them. Don't think too much. With your parents' character, even if they can't give you so much, they won't treat you badly. However, they would definitely feel guilty towards their own daughter. If this rich young lady wanted more, they would definitely side with her. This is the reason why we advise you to plan more for yourself. Not long after Tang Yi returned to the villa, she saw Tanggua getting out of Tang Kuei's car upstairs. Her face changed a little, and then she finally went downstairs to greet them. She had a smile on her face. Xiaogua, is it your brother who picked you up? Yes, my brother should be on the way. Tanggua replied. Tang Yi was a little sullen. Maybe on the way? She remembered that the company and Tanggua's school were not on the way at all. So, it was Tang Kuei who picked her up in person? If you want to chat with more like-minded people, you have to be calm. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1761. Finally, it was the night of the banquet on Saturday. Chen Xian and Zhao Wen asked the staff to take care of the store. It was such a big event. The family Tang would definitely invite them, who were very important to Tang Guo's adoptive parents, to attend the banquet. That night, Tang Guo wore the dress that Tang Kue had tailored for her last time. It was a very beautiful blue dress. When she wore it, she looked like a princess. When she was led down by Tang Kue, all the people at the banquet were attracted by her. Because of her appearance, countless female guests at the banquet were overshadowed, including Tang Yi. Even if Tang Yi had dressed up carefully, she could not stand out in front of Tang Guo. Before they came, many people were still guessing what the young lady of the family Tang would look like now. According to the appearance of Tang Kue and Lin Hui, she should not be bad. But this young lady was raised outside. Although she was not bad, she was not necessarily presentable. After all, in their circle, etiquette and manners were very important. Now that they saw her appearance, they did not look down on her at all. They muttered silently in their hearts, how could she be raised outside? If they did not know that the family Tang couple had never given up looking for Tang Guo over the years. They were afraid that they had secretly taken their daughter to some castle to cultivate. The people who came to the banquet naturally praised Tang Guo. Tang Yonghua and Lin Hui were all smiling, taking Tang Guo with them. Even at this time, they did not ignore Tang Yi. Tang Yi had been following Lin Hui, which meant that Lin Hui and Tang Yonghua stood in the middle, one on the left and the other on the right. As her brother, Tang Kue could only stand on the side, next to Tang Guo. He did not care about this. Even so, no one could ignore him. The family Tang people did not ignore Tang Yi, but these outsiders were not necessarily so. They didn't care whether Tang Yi was comfortable or not. They only knew that the daughter of the family Tang family was back. She seemed to be a good person. She was someone that the family Tang couple treated as a treasure. Now, he definitely had to get to know them well. Maybe in the future, he might even become in-laws with the Tang family. Originally, Tang Yi was the most popular person at the banquet, but now it was Tang Guo. So, Tang Yi didn't feel good at all. Naturally, she felt uncomfortable. She maintained a smile the entire time, but no one seemed to notice her. Those who were once passionate towards her seemed to have disappeared. When it came to dancing, many people of the same generation came forward to invite Tang Guo to dance. After being politely rejected by Tang Guo, those people remembered her and invited her to dance. It felt like she was picking up Tang Guo's leftovers. Although he said that he didn't care, how could he not care at a time like this? After she politely declined, she and a few of her little friends held a wine glass and whispered to each other. The girls who were at the same level as the family Tang had already come to Tang Guo, talking and laughing with her. They originally thought that they had nothing in common with Tang Guo, but they didn't expect that they would be so relaxed when they talked about the topic. Tang Guo was not afraid at all. They originally wanted to talk about the topic with her, but the conversation would go to other places, and she could easily pick it up. If you want to talk with more like-minded people, you have to be calm. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1762. At this moment, they were even more eager to interact more with this real rich young lady. They didn't dislike Tang Yi, but they didn't get along well with her. They didn't have much contact with Tang Yi before, because Tang Yi had her own circle. They came to support the real young lady for the sake of politeness and face. After getting familiar with her, they felt that they could get along with her in the future. Qin Xian and Zhao Wen were a little worried at first. After all, Tang Guo was lost when she was very young. They were afraid that she couldn't fit in. Now that they saw that she was like a fish in water, they weren't worried anymore. Maybe it was a person's talent. In fact, the original Lin Mingya didn't perform very well on this day. How could she not have stage fright without training since she was young? It was such a big party. Even an adult would have stage fright. Tang Guo was used to big occasions. Naturally, she wouldn't be timid. Xiao Guo, can I invite you to dance? Taoyu was relieved when he saw Tang Guo politely refuse other people before, but he was a little nervous. She could refuse other people, so she could refuse him. But in this rare opportunity, he still wanted to invite her to a dance. He didn't know why, since he saw Tang Guo, his mind was full of her wherever she wasn't. Wherever she was, his eyes could only see her. Tao Yu suspected that this was love at first sight. He didn't dare to act rashly. He planned to get to know her for a while, and then plan slowly. The reason why he said that he needed to plan was because the family Tang couple and Tang Kuei wouldn't easily hand over their little princess. Now Tang Gua and her adoptive parents had a good impression of him. The family Tang couple also had a good impression of him. Tang Kuei was his good friend. But what he was going to do might annoy these three people. He had to be careful not to let them find out what he was thinking. Brother Tao. Tao Yu smiled. It was different from the smile on his face when he saw Tang Gua. After all, they were in public, and he had to maintain his image. In the past, he had always kept a safe distance from these people and ignored them. His sudden change in appearance would easily attract the attention of many people who would suspect that his persona had collapsed. Sure, seeing that everyone was looking at her, Tang Gua gladly agreed. Take it as a thank you for your help last time, Brother Tao. At first, there were still some strange looks in the surroundings, but now they understood. This Tao Yu was indeed very familiar with the Tang family. It was not strange that Tang Gua knew him. It wasn't strange that his attitude towards Tang Gua was different. After all, he was very close to Tang Kuei. Moreover, from what Tang Gua said, it seemed that the two of them were still in contact. Countless people breathed a sigh of relief. They knew it. This Tao Yu had always been indifferent to others, so why would he suddenly invite a little girl to dance? He was probably afraid that Tang Gua would get stage fright, so he pretended to be a big brother to help her. Tao Yu didn't know that if it weren't for Tang Gua's words, his invitation to Tang Gua to dance was enough to collapse his persona. At this time, he was still feeling complacent that Tang Gua agreed to dance with him. Tang Yi saw that it was Tao Yu and Tang Gua who were dancing, but she didn't think much of it. She secretly glanced at Tang Kuei and saw that Tang Kuei was looking at the two people on the dance floor with a smile on his face. Tang Kuei pursed his lips slightly.
The peak.
Chapter 1763. She didn't know when Tang Kuei would invite her to dance. She would have her 18th birthday soon. She didn't know if she could ask Tang Kuei to dance with her. Thinking of this, Tang Yi's heart beat fast, and her face became red. Afraid of being seen by others, she turned around and went to the bathroom. After hiding in the bathroom for a while, she was about to open the door and go out. Suddenly, there was a small discussion outside, which made her give up opening the door. The real daughter is really the real daughter. Even if she was raised outside, she still looks so good. Whether it's appearance or bearing, she is the best. Even if she was raised since she was a child, she can't be compared with the real daughter. You can't say that. It's just that the real daughter is really outstanding. Looking at our circle, there are not many people of the same generation who can be compared with Tang Yi. If she wasn't lucky enough to be taken back to the family Tang family and be carefully cultivated by the family Tang couple, would she be so outstanding? Speaking of which, if the real daughter wasn't lost, would she have such a good life? The person who said this was obviously jealous of Tang Yi's good life. Tang Yi understood it, but what the other person said really poked her sore spot. So keep your voice down. Today we are not here to make trouble. Whether it's real or not, she is the daughter of the family Tang family. Didn't you see that even if the real daughter came back, she was still taken by the family Tang couple? This attitude tells us that they also care about the adopted daughter. Okay, she is so lucky. I feel a little unfair for the Tang Gua. She was really unlucky. When she was a child, she was lost, and her parents loved another fake daughter for more than 10 years. Now she is back, and the fake daughter is still at home. Her parents' love also has to be shared with the fake daughter. If it were me, I wouldn't be able to bear it. Well, don't talk about it. If it is heard by others, won't it offend them? It's other people's business. We can't interfere. Besides, it doesn't make sense that when the real daughter comes back, they have to throw away the fake daughter. Raising a kitten or a puppy is not a bad thing. The two people's voices gradually became lower. The footsteps were getting farther and farther away. Hearing that there was no more noise, Tang Yi came out from the inside. Her face was very ugly. When she returned to the banquet, even if no one was talking about her, she was still very unhappy. Lin Hui saw that she had taken a long time to come out and came over to ask her if she was feeling unwell. She forced a smile and shook her head, indicating that she was fine. The gazes from the people around her made her feel uncomfortable. She had a feeling that those people who glanced at her and then lowered their heads to continue whispering were discussing what she had just heard. Actually, it was obvious that the people who came here were not fools. How could they possibly discuss such things in public? But Tang Yi always felt that these people were talking about her. The more she thought about it, the more uncomfortable she felt. If it weren't for a few of her close friends, she would have been embarrassed. Tang Yi had already finished a dance with Tao Yu. At this moment, she was surrounded by the daughters of various families, chatting happily. Tang Yi, who was good at playing, also sat in a group. Most of them were her former classmates whom she had known since she was very young. When the family Tang couple saw that Tang Yi had integrated into the group so quickly, the last bit of worry in their hearts disappeared, and they gave her full authority. As for Tang Kui, he was not worried at all. "Host, you just smiled mysteriously. Are you thinking about something bad? I'm wondering if your program is loaded with bean dregs." Chapter 1764. After the banquet last time, Tang Yi's outstanding performance left a deep impression on the people in this circle. No one could shake the status of the little princess of the family Tang family. Later, a few daughters of rich families thought that they had a good chat and wanted to make friends with Tang Yi. Tang Yi naturally would not refuse friends with good intentions. Moreover, with her current status, it was indeed necessary for her to make friends in this circle. After a while, everyone became familiar with each other. On weekends, these daughters would call Tang Yi and ask her to have fun. Otherwise, Tang Yi would invite them to family Tang. Later, Tang Yi asked them if they liked to eat snacks. Her foster parents ran a snack bar. If they liked something, they could go directly to the shop and she would treat them. Although they were all daughters of rich families with extraordinary family backgrounds, it was the same when they encountered delicious food. Moreover, they heard that it was a snack recommended by countless celebrities. They found a time and came at noon. The daughters of rich families, who were originally of extraordinary status, dressed very simply when they came here. In particular, each of them had a loose-fitting t-shirt, as if they were preparing to eat to their heart's content. Chun Xian and Zhao Wen looked at these daughters, who did not care about trifles, and they liked them a little. They were very happy that their daughter could integrate into their circles so quickly. Tang Yi and Tang Yi could only meet once a week. Based on the current situation, Tang Yi would not explode for the time being. As for when she would not be able to hold back, Tang Yi did not know. Before the banquet, she had already given the life-saving talismans to the family Tang couple and also told them to carry them with them. This time, the life-saving talisman she gave them was a two-handed bracelet, which looked like Buddha beads. The couple were somewhat of a believer in Buddhism, and she could be considered to have catered to their interests. "Dad, Mom, when I came back from a business trip this time, I specially asked for a protective talisman for our family at the temple." During the weekend meal, Tang Kui took out 4 gift boxes. The moment he took them out, Tang Yi felt a special power. Even if this world did not have such special powers, her soul was incomparably strong. However, her soul was incomparably strong, and she was very sensitive to such powers. Tang Kui pushed 2 boxes in front of Tang Yonghua and Lin Hui first, and the other 2 boxes in front of Tang Yi and Tang Yi. Tang Yi clearly felt that the thing in the box in front of Tang Yi didn't have any special power, so it should be just an ordinary thing. She took the box and opened it. She found a jade pendant in the shape of a water droplet. There were no other complicated carvings on it. Tang Yi also opened it. Naturally, there was a similar jade pendant inside. The designs were all young and suitable for young girls. "You actually remembered to bring us gifts." Tang Yonghua and Lin Hui looked at each other and opened their boxes. Tang Yonghua's was a jade plate with a picture of the goddess of mercy. Lin Hui's was an exquisite Buddha head pendant, which was very suitable for women. "It looks pretty good." Tang Yonghua was a person who understood jade. "You little brat, you really put in a lot of effort this time." You must have spent a lot, right? It's filial piety. It's not a matter of money. Tang Kui said, these are all consecrated. Mom and Dad. You must wear them closely. Lin Yinghui nodded. You two, brother and sister, really have the same idea. Guogua also gave us a bracelet of Buddha beads. She said it was consecrated, and we should wear it all the time.
Oh.
Is that so? Tang Kui's eyes fell on the wrists of the two. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting role and calm down. Look, talk about life and find confidence. Chapter 1765. Tang Kui saw the bracelets on Lin Yinghui and Tang Yonghua's wrists. Host, special energy has been detected. It's more powerful than the things we exchanged in the system store. So, the host sister was probably a fake one. In the system store, things like this would cost a lot of money. Tang Kui said, got it. His eyes fell on Tang Guo's face and asked, Guogua, you only prepared a gift for our parents, but not for your brother? Kui, how can you ask your sister for something? Lin Yinghui quickly defended her son. You're the brother. It's your sister who should give you something. Tang Kui smiled. Well, although I want to receive a gift from my sister, Mom is right. The family Tang couple had already put on the gifts prepared by Tang Kui. Tang Guo also put on the gifts. Tang Yi was even faster. It could be said that receiving a gift from Tang Kui was the happiest thing for her in a while. I also prepared a gift for my brother, Tang Guo said to Tang Kui after putting on the gifts. Since he had asked for it and even gave her a gift, she had to return the favor. Oh, is that so? Tang Kui smiled. I don't know what it is. I don't know what my brother likes, so I prepared a bracelet for the whole family. It's the kind that has been consecrated in the temple. System host, a lie needs thousands of lies to cover it up. However, he looked at Tang Kui's eyes as if he already knew, so he didn't expose him. And his host seemed to have the same plan. Therefore, this time, the two of them did not intend to play the same scene as the last time, where they would play the brother-sister. Have you been reborn too? This time, it should be, brother, sister, we don't know anything about each other. We've always been close. Bracelets? I like them too. They've been consecrated. I'm looking forward to it. Tang Kui looked like he was really looking forward to his sister's gift. Of course, he was also looking forward to it. The couple could only smile and let them eat first, then discuss the gift. After the meal, Tang Kui couldn't wait to ask Tang Guo to go back and show him the gift. He was really looking forward to it. Tang Guo had to go back to her room. Qi Xiao helped her make a lot of such things. She chose a bracelet suitable for Tang Kui and put it in a brocade box. In addition, she asked the system to help her to choose a female bracelet in the system's space mall. System, even if everyone was wearing the same thing, the way they did things was even more intimate than the way they did things. If one wasn't in the know, who would have known that there was such a subtle difference in treatment? Tang Guo handed 2 boxes to Tang Kui and Tang Yi respectively. Host, the gift your sister gave you also contains a very powerful and mysterious power. My suggestion is that when you leave this world, you can put this Buddhist bead bracelet into the system space and take it away. Tang Kui, whereas Tang Yi. 111 have no power. 111. Hearing this result, Tang Kui laughed softly. Tang Yi thought that Tang Kui was happy because of Tang Guo's gift. She was not interested in the bracelet at all. But Tang Guo gave it to her face, so she still pretended to like it. In front of Tang Guo, Tang Kui put the Buddhist bead bracelet on his wrist. If you want to talk with more like-minded people, you should be calm. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1766. It's just right. Guogua has good taste. I like it very much. He stared at Tang Guo, paused for 3 seconds, and continued, I'll wear it all the time. The moment he put it on his wrist, Tang Kui felt that his soul was refreshed, and the smile on his lips deepened. This was probably something that his good sister had prepared long ago. She wanted to give him something to clear his mind, so that he would not be bewitched and corrupted by the evil spirit. Even if his mind was not clear, he could feel that this thing was also good for him. As long as you like it. Tang Gui showed a sweet smile. Tang Kui said matter-of-factly, "Of course I like it since it's a gift from my sister." Tang Yi looked at the two of them and quickly interrupted, "Brother, I've also prepared gifts for everyone." "Oh, is that so?" Tang Kui said lightly. There was no joy on his face, nor anything else. Tang Yi went back to her room and gave the gifts to Tang Gui and Tang Yi first. She gave Tang Gui a necklace and gave Tang Kui a watch. "Thank you for the gifts, Xiaoyi." Tang Kui thanked her politely, but he did not intend to wear the watch, which made Tang Yi feel very sad. She pursed her lips slightly and said, "I'll go and give the gifts to Mom and Dad." She received a lot of praise from the family Tang couple, and they even put on the gifts in front of her. In the next few days, Tang Yi observed that the whole family was wearing the gifts that Tang Gui gave them all the time. As for the gifts that she gave, even the family Tang couple only wore them for a day or two, and then put them away. Although it was like this in the past, she still felt very sad. She didn't know that the three of them were wearing the gifts from Tang Gui because they doted on Tang Gui, and she told them not to. Not to mention that Tang Kui knew the benefits of the bracelet, the family Tang couple clearly felt that the bracelet was really different from not wearing it. In the end, they were very convinced that the bracelet was really consecrated by a senior monk, and naturally, they were willing to wear it every day. In the following days, Tang Yi always looked for opportunities to contact Tang Kui. Tang Kui treated her the same as before, distant and cold. There was no comparison before, but now there was Tang Gui. Tang Yi really couldn't stand it. What really made her sad was that she had originally planned to ask Tang Kui to dance with her at her birthday party. She had already told the people around her that she would definitely be able to dance with her brother. Unexpectedly, Tang Kui attended a social event that day and drank a lot. He looked drunk and his face was very red. Then he came back to her birthday party. Seeing Tang Kui walk in and needing Tang Gui's help to walk, she really couldn't bring herself to ask. "Host, you've hurt the little girl's heart." Tang Kui said, "What little girl?"
"She's just a little bitch."
"She's not my cup of tea." The system and Tang Gui were pretending to be drunk. That's right, people who have read the story should know that Tang Yi would invite Tang Kui to dance. As the eldest brother, he really didn't want to embarrass Tang Yi that day, so he agreed. Tang Kui didn't want to make himself suffer, so he had to think of a way. Late at night, Tang Yi remembered that Tang Kui was still so cold to her, and her heart was very depressed. Unconsciously, she also drank a lot today. She was looking through the gifts that Tang Kui gave her when she was little and inadvertently found a hidden box. She opened the box, and a smooth stone appeared in front of her. Looking at the stone, she sobered up a little. She wanted to talk with more like-minded people, so she quickly changed into a female supporting role and calmed down. Look, talk about life, find a confidant. Chapter 1767. She had accidentally picked up this stone when she was very young. On one side, it was snow white and smooth like a piece of paper. On the other side, there were very complicated symbols. In any case, she could not understand the meaning of these symbols. On the left side of the stone, there were words that she recognized. Lucky charm. On the right side of the stone, there was also a very small line of words. Your wish, I'll help you fulfill it. At first, she did not think that this stone was unusual. She thought that it was a small toy. Her memory was relatively early. Perhaps it was because she often quarreled with her parents and her mother would vent her anger on her. Basically, her memories from when she was 1 or 2 years old were still vivid in her mind. Every time her parents quarreled and she was scolded by her mother, she would hug this stone and hide in a corner to cry. Feeling the pain in her body, she would say to the stone that if her parents did not quarrel and her mother did not beat her, how good would that be? Unexpectedly, her parents passed away unexpectedly. They did not have the chance to quarrel, and her mother did not beat her. She was sent to the orphanage and was bullied by the other children. She was neglected. She began to miss the days when she had parents. Computer terminal and RBN Even though she was occasionally beaten and heard her parents quarrel, the family still lived well when they were not quarreling. At least, she would not be bullied by other children. She would not often have her food snatched or even suffer from the cold and hunger. When she was 5 years old, she already knew how to write. Occasionally, she would squat at the entrance of the orphanage and look at the children with parents. She would act coquettishly and spend time with her parents. She squatted in the corner, spread out the stone in her hand, took out a charcoal pencil, and wrote down her wish to have a pair of parents who loved her and live a prosperous life. She did not think that writing down these could be realized. After all, her parents were no longer in this world. She was just seeking comfort by doing this. She really did not expect that after a few days, she would be told by the director that a couple wanted to adopt her. It was a kind-looking couple. At first glance, she could tell that they were a very good couple. When she saw them, she agreed almost without hesitation. After going to the family tang, she lived like a princess. Her adoptive parents loved her. Naturally, she lived a prosperous life. She thought of the stone called the Lucky Charm, and her heart pounded. For the first time, she believed that all of this might have been brought to her by the Lucky Charm. New starter now that she had everything, she was very satisfied. She didn't dare to ask for more. She carefully put the Lucky Charm in a box and hid it in the most hidden place. She didn't dare to make any random wishes. She was afraid that if she made too many wishes, they wouldn't come true. Even if the heavens saw that she was too greedy, when would they take back everything she had? Therefore, she had never opened the box in the 10 years since she came to Family Tang. If she hadn't found it tonight, she would have almost forgotten that she had such a magical item. Tang Yi looked at the Lucky Charm. The place where she wrote her wish was now clean and smooth, and there was nothing on it. On the other side, there were still those complicated and incomprehensible symbols. She didn't know if it was an illusion, but she felt that these symbols were much more complicated than before. Perhaps he had remembered wrongly when he was young. She recalled what she had been through these days, especially Tang Kui, who had always been cold and indifferent to her. She liked Tang Kui so much that she only dared to see him secretly and approach him carefully. She didn't even have the courage to confess. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character.
Calm down.
Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1768. The Lucky Charm had fulfilled her wish. She wondered if it could fulfill this wish of hers as well. As soon as this idea came out of her mind, Tang Yi's heart was burning. She didn't ask for much. She didn't want the Tang family's things, and she didn't want to steal Tang Yi's position. She only wanted Tang Kui to like her, to see her sincerity, and to accept her. She wanted to be with Tang Kui, marry him, and be lovey-dovey for the rest of their lives. Is that okay? Tang Yi remembered Tang Kui's indifference to her. She knew that he didn't like her. It was precisely because Tang Kui didn't like her at all that she didn't even have the courage to confess. If she wrote down her wish, would Tang Kui like her? She didn't know when, but she was already holding a pen in her hand. After hesitating for a while, she decided to write down this wish. Regardless of whether it was realized or not, she still had an extravagant wish. She was the only one who knew this, and it wouldn't hurt anyone else. Mobile terminal PS. Just when she was about to start writing, Tang Yi hesitated and put the pen aside. She exhaled and rubbed her face, murmuring softly, "It's inevitable that I'll look forward to the changes every day." If it didn't happen, then he would be disappointed for a long time. Why don't I think about it again? I haven't confessed to him yet, so I haven't been rejected. Maybe I can work harder. What if I succeed? The reason why Tang Yi didn't write it was because she was afraid that the lucky stone wouldn't be able to fulfill her wish. Although she believed in the unintentional wish she had made back then, it might have been a coincidence. The lucky stone was her last hope. She decided to find an opportunity to confess to Tang Kui. No matter what the result was, she wanted to give it a try. If Tang Kui did not agree, she would use this method again. Having made this decision, Tang Yi felt relieved and put the stone back into its place. Lying back on the bed, He closed his eyes and fell asleep peacefully. Host, she didn't write anything. Could it be that she suddenly realized that feelings shouldn't be forced? The system was puzzled. However, I can sense that her emotions are fluctuating greatly. I don't know the reason. It's because she's not sure if the lucky charm can help her fulfill her wish. She was probably afraid that her wish wouldn't come true in the end. Looking at her determined eyes, she probably wanted to confess to my brother first. That's right. The original plot had something like that as well. When the system scanned the scene from the original plot, I thought she had woken up. She probably still doesn't know that the lucky charm will bring misfortune to others and deprive them of their happiness. Tangwa smiled. Help me get a bottle. It's a purple one. It's the one that Brother Ziyan gave me in the group chat. The system found it, but there was no label on it. What was this thing? A derivative of a pipe dream. Dream creation. Tangwa took out a thumb-sized pill from the purple bottle. The pill was made up of 2 different colors. Half of it was white, and the other half was purple. She broke the pill in the middle and placed the purple pill in her room. Then he took the other half of the white pill, opened the door, walked to Tangi's door, and inserted the pill into the door. Just as he stood up, he bumped into Tang Kuei, who had appeared out of nowhere. Tangwa's eyes met Tang Kuei's. New and RBN. Host, I'm sorry. I just wanted to remind you, but the distance between the rooms is too close. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, please be calm. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1769. It's okay. Tangwa looked indifferent. My brother won't expose me. Maybe he will give me a good reason. He won't care about such a trivial thing. Tang Kuei also looked indifferent and asked, It's so late. What is Guogua looking for on the ground? A small ornament, very important. I don't know where it is. Tangwa said calmly. She didn't seem to be lying at all. Tang Kuei nodded and touched Tangwa's forehead. Did you drink too much at night? Why didn't you turn on the light when looking for something? 111 Host. Aren't you afraid of being beaten to death by your fake sister? System Host. She is undermining your plan. Tang Kuei said, Didn't I give her an excuse that she drank too much? Tangwa said, My brother gave me an excuse that I drank too much. 111. System, go back and have a rest. We will look for it tomorrow. Tang Kuei put his hand on Tangwa's shoulder and pushed her to the room. If it was lost at home, we will definitely find it. Tomorrow, I will ask the maid to help you look for it. Brother, you are right. I am a little confused because I am drunk, Tangwa said with a smile, but her eyes were really clear. Brother, you were so drunk before, but now you are sober. It's quite fast. I have always been like this. No matter how much I drink, I will be sober after a sleep. Tang Kuei didn't seem to see it. With a faint smile on his lips, he helped her close the door. Go to sleep? She really held a grudge. Her temperament was a bit similar to his. If he didn't remember that he was the only son, he would suspect that his parents secretly hid a sister outside. After the door was closed, Tangwa lay back to sleep peacefully. When Tang Kuei passed by Tangi's room, he glanced at the crack of the door and said, Sanyao, have you found out what's inside? 111, I can't detect it. My level is not high enough. I can only say that it is a very advanced drug that affects people's mind. However, it can be determined that there is no harm to the human body or the mind. Well, I will go back to sleep. 111 Host, can you take it out to sea? I'm afraid that if I do, I'll be beaten up by my sister. Tang Kuei's lips curled up into a smile. Tang Yi is also unlucky. How could she provoke such an unusual sister? Huh? 111 really couldn't understand. From the looks of it, they were both fakes. Why did these two people pretend that they were both biological and didn't care at all about where the other party came from? There seemed to be a sense of cooperation. That Tang Yi was very unlucky. Most likely, she had used up all her luck. That's right. In this world, there's no such thing as a free lunch without hard work. Host, you are right. Your brother really doesn't like to meddle in other people's business. Listening to his tone, It seemed that he was gloating about Tang Yi's misfortune. The system remembered 111's words and said happily, "Host, even if I don't have a serial number, I'm still more powerful than 111, right?" "Yes, Tongzi, you're very capable." The system was overjoyed. 111 was a useless system that only knew how to hug someone's leg. Although he was also riding on someone's coattails, he was more powerful than 111. So what if it was within the system? In the end, he still couldn't be compared to him, who was in the wild. As the saying went, the true experts were hidden among the common folk. Computer terminal and RBN. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character.
Calm down. Look, talk about life.
Find a confidant. Chapter 1770. The moment Tanghua lay down and closed her eyes, she entered Tang Yi's dream through the guidance of dream creation. The effect of a pipe dream was to allow one to have a dream of their previous life, allowing them to see everything that had happened in their previous life from all aspects. However, creating dreams was different. She had to take the initiative to enter someone's dream and create it for them. She wanted the things that they dreamed of. Furthermore, it was something from the celestial world. No one would be able to discover anything wrong with it. After Tang Yi fell asleep, she came to the dream that Tanghua made for her. At this time, she was holding a pen and planning to write a wish on the lucky stone. In the dream, she couldn't seem to control herself. She wrote that she had obtained Tang Kuei's heart and that she would be in love with him for the rest of her life. After writing all this, she subconsciously felt that she had a lot to ask for. She mumbled to herself that as long as her wish was fulfilled, she would not compete with Tanghua for the family Tang couple's love, nor would she compete for the family Tang's things. The overall meaning was that she could lose everything else as long as she was with Tang Kuei.
Then, the scene changed.
Tang Kuei actually took the initiative to confess to her. He looked at her with a pair of eyes that she didn't even dare to think about. He had even proposed to her. Naturally, she had happily agreed to his proposal. Tang Kuei's gentleness seemed to have been given to her. Even Tanghua, her biological sister, was not as good as her. This was what she hoped for. Under such a scene, she almost fainted from happiness. However, not long after, the family Tang couple met with an accident and both died. She was stunned for a moment. There was always a voice inside telling her. It was because she was too greedy. Tang Kuei liked her, so she wanted to take back her other things. She told herself that it wasn't like that. It was all an accident. In the dream, she accompanied Tang Kuei to deal with the family Tang couple's funeral. The passing of their parents did not destroy the relationship between them. 2 years later, they got married. Tanghua, on the other hand, was like an invisible person. She had no aura in front of her. She soon forgot the reason for the death of the family Tang couple. She happily spent the rest of her life with Tang Kuei. Mobile Terminal PS, when she held Tang Kuei's hand and died of old age, she woke up from her dream. Looking at the surrounding scene, Tang Yi realized that everything before was just a dream. The scene of her and Tang Kuei making love in her dream left a deep impression on her. At the same time, she also remembered another thing. The voice in her dream told her that it was because of her greed that she had promised to be with Tang Kuei that the family Tang couple had died. How is that possible? Tang Yi couldn't believe it. Anyway, I don't believe it. Why can't I be together with Big Brother? If I'm together, something will happen to father and mother. Subconsciously, Tang Yi forgot what happened in the dream and only remembered the scene of her and Tang Kuei loving each other. The more she thought about it, the sweeter she felt. If they were really together, it would definitely be like this. Tanghua observed Tang Yi's expression and said indifferently, "So, it was just a dream. She was only immersed in the love with my brother and forgot that the love in the dream was exchanged with the lives of my parents. Normal people should be worried that being with my brother will cause the death of my parents. Even if the dream is not to be believed, they should be tormented by the pain in their hearts and wonder if they really can't be with my brother, right? I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Chapter 1771. Early in the morning of the weekend, Tang Kuei found that there was something wrong with Tang Yi. The way she looked at him was sometimes affectionate, sometimes as if she was looking at an old married couple, which made him a little confused. 111, who was observing, felt the complicated feelings in his host's heart and snickered silently. It was the first time that his host had met such a powerful fake sister. It was reasonable to say that mission enforcers couldn't appear in the same world at the same time. He specifically checked the mission number. Anyway, there were no other mission enforcers in the Space Administration who were assigned to this world. He also wondered if it was done by the enemy. But he immediately denied it. Wasn't Tang Yi's lucky charm made by the enemy? If Tang Guo was from the enemy, she would not get along well with them. And if she was from the enemy, he could come out immediately. Looking at the other side's behavior, he finally came to a conclusion. Perhaps neither side of Tang Guo was from the enemy. It was possible that she was a civilian master who existed in the universe. She accidentally wandered here, spied on the will of this world, and intended to change the fate of the people around her. In other words, this world was more complicated. The real chosen one was not Tang Yi, but Tang Guo, the transmigrator. Tang Guo also felt that Tang Yi's eyes were really a little bit undisguised. Until the family Tang couple came downstairs, she buried her head in the food and did not dare to look at Tang Kuei again. Tang Kuei hurriedly slipped away after eating. He couldn't stay in this family anymore. He didn't know what his good sister had done to Tang Yi. The way she looked at him was so strange. He couldn't bear it anymore. Not long after Tang Kuei left, Tang Yi also went out with an excuse that she wanted to play with her friends. In fact, she went to her group of friends to discuss with them. Because of the dream last night, she planned to find a chance to confess to Tang Kuei. There was a disadvantage in the dream last night, but there were more advantages. Didn't they say that the disadvantages in the dream were not to be believed? Knew first and RBN and now she didn't write a wish. She planned to confess to Tang Kuei by herself. If she succeeded, she would have nothing to worry about. Holding such a chance, Tang Yi went to her friends and asked them how to confess to Tang Kuei. Now, whenever she saw Tang Kuei, she would think of the sweet scene in her dream. The family Tang couple also had their own matters to attend to. After dinner, they went out. They were not worried about Tang Guo. Tang Guo had made a lot of friends. It was possible for her to invite her friends or even be invited. Now, Tang Guo was the only one left in the house. She didn't have an appointment today and didn't plan to go out. Unexpectedly, a certain thick-skinned person came looking for her. Xiao Guo, is Tang Kuei not here? Tang Guo pursed her lips and smiled. My brother isn't here. He left in a hurry early in the morning. Maybe he had something to do at the last minute. Big brother Tao, why are you looking for my brother? It's not a big deal. Isn't it because the movie is about to be released? Last time, I heard that he was very interested in this theme and had a few movie tickets with him. My parents aren't at home, and my brother doesn't want to go either, so I thought of you guys. By the way, are uncle and auntie here? As he spoke, Tao Yu pulled out a few movie tickets. It seemed he wanted to invite the whole family to watch the movie. His expression was natural and not awkward at all. They all have something to do, and went out. Tang Guo had already walked in front of Tao Yu. She glanced at him and asked, what theme's the movie? If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting role and stay calm. Watch, talk about life, and find friends. Chapter 1772. Science Fiction. Tao Yu was still a little nervous when he said this. After all, if he brought a romantic movie ticket and invited Tang Kuei to watch it, it might cause unnecessary misunderstandings. Especially recently, this was the only big movie that was released and it was more difficult to get tickets. If he used this excuse, it would not be exposed so easily. It's science fiction. Tangwa said with a long voice, making Taoyu's heart beat faster. So, this little girl was not interested in this kind of science fiction movie? Taoyu smiled and pretended not to care at all. Xiaogua, do you like it? If you are free today, let's go watch it. Of course, if you are not interested, then forget it. I will go alone. Actually, he did not want to say this last sentence at all. In his heart, he hoped that the theme that Tangwa was most interested in was science fiction. The system was measuring Taoyu's psychological fluctuations and was about to die of laughter. Taoyu's mood was like the stock market now, fluctuating wildly. Up and down, it was super exaggerated. Taoyu looked like he did not care, but in fact, he was observing Tangwa's expression. The little girl's face did not show whether she liked or disliked it. This was a little helpless. Computer terminal and RBN, science fiction. Tangwa said again. Taoyu was crying in his heart. So, was she interested or not? Tell me the truth. Could Taoyu say it in one sentence? Now, his heart was about to jump out. On the mobile side. Although Brother Tao may not believe it, Taoyu was speechless. Was this the reason why people often said that it was easy to have a faster heartbeat when in love? The system was right. No matter how good the heart was, it would not be played by the host. Brother Tao, actually the theme that I am most interested in is science fiction. Tangwa finally finished her sentence. Why don't we watch it? I happen to be free today. But there are so many tickets, just the two of us? As for the rest, I will call and give them to others. There is still some time before the screening. Oh, that works too. Tangwa nodded. Then wait for me, Big Brother Tao. I'll go up and change. I'll be right back. There's no rush.
Take your time.
It's okay for a girl to take a little longer when going out. There's still some time before the screening. I drove here, so I'll be there soon. The system came prepared, this fellow. 20 minutes later, Tangwa came downstairs. Taoyu nervously invited the girl he had a good impression of into the car. After getting into the car, he almost buckled her seatbelt instinctively. In the end, he felt that it was too intimate. Afraid of scaring her, he could only say, "Have you fastened your seatbelt?" "All right, why don't Brother Tao check it?" Tangwa replied casually. Taoyu really took it seriously. He checked it carefully, and after confirming that there was no problem, he started the car. Big Brother Tao, you're quite cautious. This is a matter of life and death. Of course I have to be careful. Most importantly, he was carrying a little girl he cared about this time. How could he not be careful? They drove to a parking lot not far from the cinema and walked in together. Tangwa seemed to have forgotten that Taoyu had given her the tickets. Taoyu took the initiative to buy all kinds of food. In any case, it was the kind that little girls liked. After that, they sat in the theater and watched the movie quietly. Taoyu felt satisfied even though he did not say or do anything. He wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character.
Calm down.
Watch, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1773. Before the family Tang came back, Taoyu sent Tangwa back to the family Tang. Along the way, the two of them talked about everything related to science fiction. Taoyu was slightly relieved. Fortunately, he didn't say that he was interested in romance. New First and RBN from the conversation with Tangwa, he clearly felt that this little girl really knew a lot about science fiction, whether it was books, movies, or other things. With this understanding, he already knew how to continue in the future. On the second weekend, Taoyu directly sent a message to Tangwa. It was all pictures. After he sent them, he waited for Tangwa to ask, "Brother Tao, is this an exhibition?" Taoyu smiled and replied, "Yes, about some science fiction exhibitions. I have tickets. Are you free? Do you want to go?" "Of course. Brother Tao, if you have such a good thing in the future, don't forget me." "I won't." Because of her, he loved science fiction even more. Family Tang didn't care at all when Tangwa invited someone to play on the weekend. Even Tang Kui didn't care so much. When Tangwa was here, he doted on her. When she went out to play, He didn't restrict her. This fake sister was better than a real sister. She was very capable. Recently, he was a little confused by Tang Yi's eyes. When it came to weekends, he didn't want to go home. He had a hunch that Tang Yi was going to make trouble for him. He was not afraid. He just hoped that Tang Yi would take action quickly and expose him so that he could coldly refuse. He didn't want to avoid it and let people think that he hated her. Although that was the truth. New starter Tang Yi was not ready to confess her love. On the other side, Tang Yi contacted a good friend who used to play with her. As they chatted, they talked about her finding her biological parents. This girl's name was He Yujiao. The two of them went to primary, middle, and high school together. In the eyes of many people, they were very close. Including the original host herself, she also thought so. Before the incident, the original owner didn't know that He Yujiao was jealous of her, even if she didn't show off. After the college entrance examination, Tang Yi came to this city to go to university. He Yujiao's college entrance examination results were average, so she went to a very ordinary school. It was a little far from here. Although they didn't keep in touch every day, they would still chat occasionally when they thought of each other. It was just that they were all from different places, and it was difficult for them to get together. Logically speaking, even the best of friends would gradually fade away, and there would be no topics to talk about. Of course, Tang Yi didn't take the initiative to chat with He Yujiao, but she sent a photo of her family to her WeChat space. Her social media accounts were filled with people she knew. He Yujiao looked at the background and the strangers in family Tang. She was very curious about the person in the photo. So, he found Tang Yi, and the two of them started chatting. Since the other party asked, Tang Yi didn't hide anything. After all, He Yujiao was one of the people who caused the original owner's tragedy. She still had to pay back those sinners one by one. Forgetting hatred was not her style. Since He Yujiao said so, "You are now a rich young lady. Tang Yi, you're already a rich young lady. Don't forget me, your good friend." How could Tang Yi forget? Come over and have fun.
I will treat you well.
He Yujiao, you took it seriously. I was just joking. You're doing so well now. I am really happy for you. Tang Yi, thank you. How have you been recently? He Yujiao is doing very well. After this day, He Yujiao and Tang Yi only contacted each other occasionally. Every time they contacted each other, He Yujiao would give her the feeling that they were best friends. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1774. Time passed quickly, and it was the New Year's college entrance examination. Tang Yi and her girls had discussed how to confess to Tang Kui. The final result of the discussion was that she would confess to Tang Kui after the college entrance examination. Tang Yi's grades were not bad. There should be no problem for her to be admitted to the city's university, where Tang was studied. She listened to the girls and chose to work hard in silence for a year. Then she would confess to Tang Kui with an excellent appearance. She even vaguely had an idea. It would be better if her grades in the college entrance examination were better than Tang Yi's. Even if she couldn't surpass her, she had to be better than Tang Yi. New first and RBN and RBN, although the college entrance examination scores were different in different areas. However, if she could be admitted to the city's liberal arts top scorer, she would be considered as excellent, right? However, there were so many excellent students in this year's college entrance examination. It was not so easy to be the liberal arts top scorer. Although she was very hardworking, she was not one of the top people. Tang Yi was a little anxious. She had heard Tang Kui praise Tang Yi's grades, saying that Tang Yi was very excellent. She also wanted to be praised by Tang Kui like this after she got the grades. He would look at her differently. The night before the college entrance examination, she unconsciously took out the lucky charm. Looking at the smooth, flat, and clean side of the stone, the gel pen unconsciously fell on it. When she reacted, there was a small line of words on it. She became the city's liberal arts top scorer. New 1 Chinese P. Initial, domain name, Please remember Tang Yi came back to her senses and wanted to erase the words on it. Of course, she couldn't erase it. In the end, she shook her head and put the stone back. She didn't believe that the lucky charm would fulfill her wish. She was well aware of her own strength. There should be no problem for her to be admitted to the city's university. But to be the liberal arts top scorer was simply a fool's dream. According to the city's previous ranking, she could be ranked in the 30s in liberal arts. In many people's eyes, this result was not bad. But compared with the first place, this result was really dozens of points lower. Tang Yi didn't have any hope. She fell asleep after 9 o'clock. That night, she had a dream. In the dream, she was crazily doing test papers. He didn't know how many papers he had done, but there were papers for every subject. When she woke up in the morning, she was surprised that she didn't feel tired even though she had been dreaming all night. As for that dream, she only remembered that she had done a lot of test papers. She couldn't remember anything else. It was Tang Yonghua and Lin Hui who sent Tang Yi to school. Tang Kuei had to go to the company. It was not a weekend, and Tang Hua had classes at school. When it was time for the exam, Tang Yi took the test paper and started to do it silently. For the questions that she couldn't remember at the moment, she would put them aside first. She would look back at them after she had done the whole thing. When she turned back to look at those reminders that she didn't know at the beginning, a scene flashed through her mind. This scene was actually the scene of her doing the test paper in her dream last night. The reminder that was supposed to be a non-existent one actually appeared in his dreams. She almost cried out in surprise. Fortunately, she quickly covered her mouth and recalled the answers in her dream, filling them in on the blank test paper. He looked through the questions one by one. Sure enough, the questions that he didn't know before had all appeared in his dreams. Moreover, when she stared at the question, the answer would automatically appear in her mind. She didn't hesitate at all. Her intuition told her that this was the right answer. She quickly filled it in. Want to chat with more like-minded people? Quickly change into a female supporting role. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1775. Tang Yi did the same thing during the 2 days of the college entrance examination. She did the whole thing once, and then looked back. Every time she stared at the questions, the answers would automatically appear in her mind. Such a thing was really magical and surprising for her. Almost no one could resist this temptation during the college entrance examination. No one would refuse to take things from their dreams. Of course, Tang Yi accepted this result happily. However, she understood something more than ordinary people. Yes, she thought that it must be because of the lucky stone that she dreamed of so many questions. After the college entrance examination, the family Tang couple asked Tang Yi how she did in the exam. Tang Yi only said it should be about the same as usual. The reason why she said so was that she was afraid that the answers to those questions she didn't know would not be correct in the end. Because of the uncertainty in her heart, she didn't answer correctly. If she didn't do anything and just waited for the results, there might be a surprise in the end. Don't be too stressed.
Stay calm.
Lin Yinghui comforted. Xiao Yi, now you can think about where to go to have fun and relax. Tang Yi shook her head and refused. I'd better wait for the results. Otherwise, I won't have fun. She did plan to go out to have fun, but before that, she wanted to confess to Tang Kuei. If she succeeded, could she go on a trip with Tang Kuei? The family Tang couple didn't force her. Recently, they had been more concerned about her. Seeing that Tang Yi didn't have any other problems, they were a little relieved. Of course, they would not forget Tang Hua. Even if Tang Hua didn't go home every day, she would contact her every day. When she was free at night, she would also video call her. As for Tang Kuei, whenever he was free, he would study how to pamper his good sister. Tang Yi didn't know that except for the weekend, Tang Kuei might go to see Tang Hua at noon and take his good sister to have lunch. This made Tao Yu suffer. Tang Kuei was clearly taking up his time to accompany his future wife. But what could he say? As his future brother-in-law, he could only endure and choose to go to see Tang Hua when Tang Kuei was not at home. Now he had a good excuse. Anyway, It was about the science fiction theme. Taking a few books and figurines, he could meet Tangua. He couldn't wait for the entire city to have a science fiction exhibition every day. What's more, he couldn't wait for sci-fi movies to be released every month. He couldn't wait for all the directors in the country to start making sci-fi series. Seeing Taoyu's enthusiasm, Tangua was too embarrassed to refuse. This person was really too interesting. Therefore, she pretended not to know anything and watched his performance. When she saw that he was anxious, she would go along with his wishes. Taoyu was still trying his best to maintain his persona. Little did he know that in front of Tangua and the system, his persona had already collapsed into a mess. Tangua didn't know that Tang Yi had written down her wish the night before the college entrance examination. She didn't have time to monitor Tang Yi every day. Moreover, with Tang Yi's performance, she didn't think that Tang Yi would want to go further. Computer terminal and RBN. Therefore, when he heard that Tang Yi was the top scholar of this year's liberal arts, he was slightly stunned. She knew all of Tang Yi's achievements this year. Most of them hovered around the 30th place in the city. Occasionally, they could get into the top 30. How did he suddenly become the top scholar in the liberal arts? New first and RBN, Tang Yi was overjoyed. The family Tang was also happy for her. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. She wanted to be a female supporting character.
Calm down. Talk about life.
Find a confidant. Chapter 1776. Tongzi, can you check if there are any abnormalities in the top 30 students who took the college entrance examination? Tang was sat in the snack bar and narrowed her eyes. There must be something wrong with it. Yes, host. At the same time, Tang Kuei, who had returned to the company, said, 3. Help me check if there are any abnormalities in the students who took the college entrance examination before Tang Yi. I guess she wrote her wish on the lucky charm. I really don't know what she's after. Her grades are not bad. System 111 complained in its heart. What is she after? She just wants you to kiss her and praise her. Although it complained, it still went to check carefully. New 1 Chinese P. First, domain name, please remember new 1 not long after. Both systems found out the same thing. Host, we found out that the top liberal arts student in the city, on the second day of the college entrance examination, was unluckily hit on the head by an object falling from the sky. She is still in a coma. When the system said this, its voice was a little serious. Host, was it because of Tang Yi's wish? The object falling from the sky was not man-made. It was a small flower pot on the top floor. Fortunately, it was made of plastic, but there was still some soil in it. If it was made of other materials, the girl would have died. Let's go to the hospital. Tangua did not think that being targeted by that evil thing would only cause her to be injured by an object falling from the sky. Maybe there would be some follow-up problems. She told Qin Xian and Zhao Wen that she wanted to go out for a walk, and then took a taxi to the hospital. According to the information provided by the system, she went to the injured girl's ward. She was still in a coma, which showed that her injury was not light. When she came to the door of the ward, she saw a middle-aged woman with a pale face, sitting by the bed, heartbroken. Lying on the bed was a young girl with tender cheeks. She walked in and greeted the middle-aged woman. Hello, Auntie. I'm here to see Sunini. The middle-aged woman quickly wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes and squeezed out a smile. May I know who you are? Someone who was once helped by Sunini. Tangua lied without changing her expression. Once my wallet fell out. Luckily, Sunini picked it up and returned it to me. Although Sunini had never helped her before, this classmate of Sunini's might be a little lucky. She often picked up other people's wallets. Moreover, he had returned it successfully every time. Sunini probably couldn't remember how many wallets she had picked up and what the owners of the wallets looked like. Sunini's classmate not only had good grades, but he was also a good student who didn't pocket the money he picked up. Now, he was even helping an old lady cross the road. It could be said that it was a clear stream. The Sue family wasn't rich, but Sue Nini had good grades, so she became the hope of the whole family. Aside from her studies, she also had to work part-time as a tutor to support her family. Now that something had happened, Mrs. Sue felt as if her world had collapsed. It had been so many days, but Sue Nini still hadn't woken up. The doctor had said that Sue Nini would wake up, but she didn't wake up every time. She suspected that the doctor took pity on her and was comforting her. In fact, Sue Nini was going to become a vegetable and would never wake up. At the thought of this, Mrs. Sue couldn't help but cry. Was her daughter so lucky and good that God wanted to take her away? She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character.
Calm down. Look, talk about life.
Find a confidant. Chapter 1777. If she could, she would rather her daughter live a peaceful life. She did not want to be rich, but only wanted peace and stability. Thank you, but Nini hasn't woken up yet. If she wakes up, she will be very happy that you came to see her. Tangwa smiled and said, "She will wake up." Mrs. Sue seemed to be comforted and said, "Yes, Nini will wake up." She turned to look at Sue Nini on the bed. "Nini, look, the people you helped before still remember you. You must wake up. Because there are still many people in this world waiting for you to help them." Tangwa took out a very nice bracelet and put it on Sue Nini's wrist. There were 2 beads on it. She pointed at one of the beads and said, "This is the luck sealing bead. Wear it and you will be able to seal your good luck." She pinched the other bead that was red. "This is the luck-changing bead. Wear it and you will be able to change your luck and dispel all bad luck." Sue Nini will wake up now. Thank you. Tangwa's words were very good. Mrs. Sue did not refuse and quickly went to peel some fruits for her. Tangwa sat at the side and did not refuse. She chatted with Mrs. Sue and looked at Sue Nini from time to time. "Host, according to my detection, that strange energy is being driven away, but it will take some time. After all, Sue Nini's luck is too strong. The other party seems to have invested a lot." "Okay." Tangwa responded softly and continued talking to Mrs. Sue. Just then, the door of the ward opened and a man's voice sounded. "Hello, Auntie. I'm here to see Sue Nini. I heard something happened to her. She had found my wallet. She is a very good student. I hope she wakes up soon." Before Tang Kue could finish, he saw Tang was sitting by the bed and looking at him seriously. He smiled naturally and continued, "I hope she wakes up soon." "Thank you." Mrs. Sue was really touched. Nini was right. There were still many good people in this world. She had helped 100 people. It was impossible for every one of them to be a bad person. If she didn't help any of them, how pitiful would the good people inside be? Look at the 2 people today. They were good-looking, kind, and grateful. Weren't they here to see her Nini? Sue Nini's mother secretly wiped her tears. She was puzzled when she saw Tang Kue take out a necklace and put it around Sue Nini's neck. Tang Kue said, "This is my blessing for Sue Nini. I hope this necklace can bring her good luck." After he finished speaking, he suddenly glanced at the bracelet on Sue Nini's wrist. "Host, there's an abundance of mysterious energy. Your fake sister really has a lot of good stuff. Why don't we take your sister with us when we leave this world? Little Black, go to hell. You actually have designs on my little sister." The pitiful 111. Fine. The fake sister is more important than me. "Brother, did Sue Nini pick up your wallet before?" Tangwa asked with a smile. Tang Kue nodded naturally. "Yes, she's a good classmate who doesn't keep the money she picked up." "How did Sue Nini pick up Xiaoguo's wallet?" "Yes, it's really a coincidence." Tang Kue walked in front of Tangwa and patted her head. "It's really a coincidence. Looks like Sue Nini is really a good person. She must have done a lot of good things in the past for such a coincidence to happen." If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting character and calm down. Look, talk about life, and find a confidant. Chapter 1778. Mrs. Su was a little dumbfounded. It was only after they chatted that she realized that Tanghua and Tang Kuei were siblings. It was too much of a coincidence, but the two of them were so good at acting that she couldn't tell that it was all an act. As they chatted, Su Nini, who had been unconscious all this while, suddenly woke up. Mrs. Su cried tears of joy as she called for the doctor. It was only after they confirmed that Su Nini was fine that she burst into tears of joy. After Tanghua and Tang Kuei left, Mrs. Su sat by the bed and wiped her tears. She pointed at the necklace on Su Nini's wrist and neck and said, "Nini, don't ever take off these two things. They were given to you by those two just now. You were in a coma for more than half a month, but you woke up as soon as they came. Wear them properly and don't lose them. Hide them under your clothes." "Mom, who are they?" Mrs. Su told her everything that had happened. Su Nini looked confused. Did she pick up the wallet of the brother and sister just now? Although she had lived for more than 10 years, it was easy for her to pick up all kinds of things since she was a child. Many of them were very valuable, and she had returned them. According to other people's jokes, if she didn't return these things, she might have struck it rich. She didn't think so. She shouldn't take things that didn't belong to her. What if they were very important or even life-saving money? Wouldn't she be harming others? In life, the most important thing was to have a clear conscience. She didn't want to add to her sins. She didn't think that she was doing a good deed. Shouldn't she return something that belonged to someone else? As for helping others, that was something that she felt was within her capabilities. In this day and age, could something that happened conveniently be considered a good deed? Then she really felt sad for this era. She didn't want to become a cold person. One day, she would be lying helplessly on the ground with people taking pictures of her and no one calling for an ambulance.
How sad would that be?
Su Nini recalled the appearance of the brother and sister just now and was very sure that she did not pick up the other party's wallet. Moreover, they were so good-looking and she had an excellent memory. She could basically memorize a text after reading it twice. There was no way that she would get it wrong. Moreover, the wallet that she had picked up didn't belong to someone so young. Most of them were aunts and uncles, as well as some elderly people. But Su Nini didn't tell her mother about this. She was prepared to ask these questions herself when she was discharged. "Mom, do you have their contact information?" Mrs. Su nodded hurriedly. Yes, they did. They even volunteered to stay. They said that if there were any problems, we could ask them for help. "Mom, I've been unconscious for so long. Can we afford the hospitalization fees?" Mother Sue's tears rolled down her cheeks. "Your classmates and teachers have all pooled together some money. I've also spent the college fees that I've prepared for you. If he still doesn't wake up, I have no choice but to sell our small house." "Mom, don't cry. When I recover, I'll take advantage of the holidays to tutor more people. I'll definitely have to repeat my studies. I'll work harder to get a scholarship. At that time, he wouldn't have to spend much money in the university. Besides, don't all good universities have grants? I'll owe it to the school first. I'll repay it when I get a job in the future." Su Nini's thinking was simple. As long as she was alive, everything would be easy. She had always been very clear about her path. To her, the best path was to live, and she had done well. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character.
Calm down. Look, chat about life.
Find a confidant. Chapter 1779. The only bad thing was that she was in a coma for half a month and missed the college entrance examination. But it didn't matter. She was still alive. She felt good now. Since she was awake, she should be able to recover soon. Fortunately, she was still alive. Otherwise, her mother wouldn't be able to live anymore. "Mom, don't be sad. I'm here. Don't worry, I'll let you live a good life. As long as you're safe, it doesn't matter whether I live a good life or not." "Mom, people want to live a good life. You're asking too little. With your daughter's intelligence, how can she only live a good life? She must play to her strengths and make her life bright." When Su Nini said these words, she was really full of light. Her mother's haze was dispelled. Su Nini's mother had been comforted by Su Nini. She didn't worry about anything anymore. She just asked Su Nini if she wanted to eat anything. The mother and daughter were happy and harmonious. Tang Yi didn't know about Su Nini, nor did she care about her. She only knew that her wish had come true. At the moment, she was preparing how to confess to Tang Kui. In the end, she knocked on Tang Kui's door when no one else was at home. Before Tang Kui opened the door, her heart almost jumped out of her chest. When Tang Kui opened the door and asked her what was going on, she blushed and couldn't say a word. Seeing Tang Kui looking at her with a strange face, she finally plucked up her courage. "Brother, Tang Yi held her hands tightly. Her heart couldn't stop beating. She was a little breathless. I like you." In the end, she still said this sentence. She looked at the floor and didn't dare to look at Tang Kui. She waited quietly, waiting for Tang Kui's words. The air was very quiet. Tang Kui's distant voice sounded. "Xiao Yi, you're my sister, and I only see you as my sister. You've already taken the college entrance examination. You should go out more to see the world and meet more people. One day, you'll meet the person you really like." "No, brother, I only like you. I've always liked you." Tang Yi defended herself. Her heart also became empty. But I only see you as my sister. Xiao Yi, you also have pursuers. They also like you very much. Will you accept them because they like you? Of course not." Tang Yi was speechless. She knew that Tang Kui didn't like her. She still wanted to give it a try. Tang Kui was very outstanding. She only had the courage to confess when he became the top scholar in the liberal arts. In the end, it did not go as she wanted. Even if it was within her expectations, she was still very disappointed. "Is there anything else?"
"Xiaoyi."
No, I'm sorry." Tang Yi lowered her head. "I just want to express my feelings so that I won't regret it in the future." "Well, now I know, and you've also gotten your answer." Tang Yi left in disappointment. She didn't even have the right to question him. Because he didn't like her, she had no right to question why he didn't like her. The next day, Tang Yi and her girls planned to travel. In less than 3 days, the family Tang received a call from a hospital saying that Tang Yi and her friends had an accident. At that time, everyone in the family Tang group was having dinner. Upon hearing the news, the family Tang couple's faces instantly changed. Tang Gua and Tang Kui were sitting opposite each other. They looked at each other tacitly, and then made a worried expression at the same time, and then looked at each other with deep meaning. Tang Kui really suspected that this fake sister of his had graduated from the same acting academy as him. Tang Gua, maybe she really had such a brother? She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. Quickly change into a female supporting role.
Calm down. Talk about life.
Find a confidant. Chapter 1780. It took family Tang half a day to arrive at the hospital where Tang Yi was. They were told that Tang Yi was out of danger and was still in a coma. She should wake up soon. At this time, family Tang knew what happened to Tang Yi and her friends. It was not a car accident, but something happened when they were having fun. Several of Tang Yi's friends only suffered some scratches. But Tang Yi was not the same. She was hit by the falling parts from above. Fortunately, the part was not big or high, or Tang Yi might have died on the spot. According to the surveillance video at that time, Tang Yi seemed to have found something wrong. She tried to move aside, but it was too late. Tang Wu looked at the surveillance video and saw Tang Yi was hit on the top of her head. She subconsciously looked at Tang Kui, but he was also looking at her. At last, they withdrew their eyes. When they looked at each other just now, they only exchanged a message. The place where the part was hit was the same as Su Nini's. The doctor said that she would wake up soon. Why did they feel a little worried? Family Tang couple was very worried. They didn't want to say such a mysterious thing. Even if they said it, they wouldn't believe it. After all, Tang Yi was their daughter for more than 10 years. They had feelings for her. They didn't know anything. They were just kind. Tang Wu didn't want to let them know the cruel truth from the beginning. As for whether Tang Yi was good or bad, it would be gradually exposed in the future. Her behavior would make them sad, but it was inevitable. She was bound to experience it. Sure enough, Tang Gua and Tang Kuei's prediction was right. Tang Yi didn't wake up after a week. Family Tang couple asked her every day. The doctor checked her many times, but there was no problem at all. He also felt strange that Tang Yi didn't wake up. Su Nini was discharged from the hospital, but Tang Yi still didn't wake up. Su Nini originally planned to ask Tang Gua and Tang Kuei why they lied to help her, but later she gave up the idea. She thought it was not good for her to ask. What if they just wanted to do a good deed? If she asked, they might not do good deeds in the future. Therefore, she silently memorized their contact information. When she was discharged from the hospital, she called them separately to thank them. As for the rest, there was nothing she could do. Perhaps one day, they would need her help too. She would remember this favor. After that, Su Nini was no different from before. First, she settled the matter of repeating her studies. Then she went to work as a tutor to earn money. She was lively all day and did not look like someone who had just been discharged. 2 months later, Tang Yi finally woke up. She found it hard to believe that she had been unconscious for so long. She only remembered that something had fallen and hit her, and she had fainted not long after. Currently, the freshmen had already started their military training. Although Tang Yi had woken up, she had been in a coma for more than 2 months. Her body hadn't recovered yet. Especially on the top of her head, there was a very hideous scar. She didn't want to go out to meet people. Where the scar was, the growth of hair was still very slow. Compared to the other parts of her long black hair, it happened to be half the size of a fist on the top of her head. The scar was so ugly that she could not accept it. At this time, it was summer. She couldn't wear a hat indoors like in winter. She wanted to chat with more like-minded people. She wanted to be a female supporting character.
Calm down. Talk about life.
Find a confidant. Chapter 1781. It took a long time for Tang Yi to accept the fact that she was forced to go bald. Every time Tang Kuei came to the hospital, she didn't dare to face him. Tang Kuei didn't like her, and now seeing her ugly appearance, he disliked her even more. Lin Yinghui saw that Tang Yi was unhappy all day, so she comforted her. It's good that you woke up. You'll get better soon, and your hair will grow back in a few months. Xiaoyi, you should take good care of yourself. School is about to start. I know, Mom. I just can't accept it now. Tang Yongbo was also a little distressed, so he said, Do you have anything you want?
It's best to be happy at this time.
Hearing Tang Yongbo's words, Tang Yi was moved. Although she felt inferior in front of Tang Kuei. But if she could appear in front of him in such a weak and pitiful way, she didn't know whether he would accompany her for her sake. So, Tang Yi said, Mom, Dad, where's my brother? Can I go to the company with him recently? I feel bored staying at home all the time. Hearing Tang Yi's request, Tang Yonghua and Lin Yinghui were stunned. Go to the company with Tang Kuei? Although they didn't say anything, they subconsciously objected. Tang Yonghua gave most of the things in the company to Tang Kuei. Although Tang Kuei occasionally had time at noon to pick up Tanghua for lunch. In fact, he was very busy. Why did he set the time for Tanghua at noon on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday? Because he had various social engagements at other times. Sometimes, he didn't even have time at noon on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It was also because of his excellent performance that Tang Yonghua was relieved and slowly handed over the power to him. It was like lifting a stone and smashing it on his own feet. Tang Yi was injured now, so they should agree to her small request. They loved Tang Yi, but they also loved their son. They were so busy that they didn't have time to take care of Tang Yi. If something happened to Tang Yi, Tang Kuei would be distracted. If the company suffered losses because of this, the shareholders would make a fuss. At that time, it would have a bad impact on Tang Yi, Tang Kuei, and even the whole company. Although they loved their daughter, they also cared about the occasion. The company was for everyone's benefit. They couldn't just accept Tang Yi's ridiculous request. Even if Tang Kuei doted on Tanghua, He would not bring Tangwa to the company anytime and anywhere. Tang Core wasn't a normal company. Every employee needed an ID chip, a scan of their face and fingerprints before they could enter. Tang Yongbua was stunned for a second. He didn't think that Tang Yi was deliberately embarrassing them. Maybe the little girl didn't understand these things. He said, "Kuei is very busy. When he comes back, I'll ask him to come upstairs and spend more time with you. How about we ask him to take you and your sister out this weekend?" "Dad, I won't bring trouble to the company.
Just give me a place to sit,"
Tang Yi said stubbornly. When she was young, she did not go to the family Tang's company and did not care about these things. He only knew that Family Tang Group was a very big company. He did not understand that Family Tang Group was a top chip company and involved many high-level secrets. It was very strict for any employee to enter and leave, especially the main building where Tang Kuei worked. The other series were not so strict. But without Tang Kuei, Tang Yi was not willing to go there.
"I want to chat with more like-minded people."
Hurry up and change into a female supporting character.
"Calm down."
Look, talk about life. Chapter 1782. Tang Yongbua saw Tang Yi's pitiful look. Although he felt pity for her, he was not stupid. He walked up to Tang Yi and patted her on the shoulder. "Tang Yi, the company is very strict at the moment. Non-members are not allowed to enter. Even your mother and I have to get an ID chip and scan our faces to verify our fingerprints. After these 3 layers of protection, we can enter. We are not allowed to do anything wrong." "Tang Yi, don't be sad. When you graduate from college or have an internship, your brother will arrange for you to get an ID card for the internship. Then you can go to the company. With your ability, you can pass the internship and become an official member of the company. Then it will be easy to get in and out of the company." Lin Yinghui encouraged. "Tang Yi is so outstanding. She can do it. Even if she couldn't get in, she could still go to the chip company and other companies under the Tang Group. This was the only building that had strict access to the building. If she went to other branches, they wouldn't have a hard time at all. However, their son was too capable. In a short time, the chip company of the Tang Group had gone global. For the sake of security and confidentiality, the entry and exit would be more and more strict in the future. If these things were to be leaked, it would not be good for Tang Core, but it would affect the entire country. Tang Yi was stunned for a moment when she heard the couple say this. So strict? She only knew that the Tang Group was involved in many industries. She really didn't expect there to be such a strict place. Since the two of them said so, Tang Yi was not stupid. She said on the spot that she was not sensible and would not mention this again. Seeing that she was so sensible, the family Tang couple thought that when Tang Kuei was free on the weekend, he would take the 2 sisters out to have fun. Because Tang Yi didn't show it and looked like she was just relying on her brother, the 2 of them didn't notice anything and didn't think about it. On the weekend, the family Tang couple talked about it. At the same time, they told Tangwa and Tang Yi that if they wanted to enter the company under the Tang Group and the company that Tang Kuei was mainly in charge of, they had to rely on their own ability. Even if they were the daughters of the family Tang, they couldn't get in through the back door. At most, they would give them an internship opportunity. If they couldn't pass the internship, they could only be eliminated and arranged to go to other places in the future. Tangwa did not say anything. She had made a decision in her heart. She was definitely going to enter this company. She studied science. Was there anything wrong with her entering a technology company? There was nothing wrong with the system. It was just that the 2 transmigrators were working together to develop technology. He wondered if it would become a disaster for this world. Fortunately, the family Tang Group only made chips for now. Tang Yi, I will try my best. When Tang Yi came out of the orphanage, she was indeed raised in the hands of others. She had completely forgotten that she was a liberal arts student. What was she going to do in the future? Working with a technology company. Because she was this year's top scholar in liberal arts, she was very confident that with her own ability, she could stay in the chip company that Tang Kuei was currently in charge of. Tangwa, on the other hand, did not say anything. She glanced at Tang Kuei and was wondering if she should ask Tang Kui first and get in through the back door to get the internship qualification so that she could go in for a stroll. In fact, Tang Kui was also thinking that this fake sister of his was not simple. He didn't know if the other party had any technology related to future high-end chips. Of course, other technologies were also possible. After all, it was a technology company. He was very interested in high-tech things. I want to chat with more like-minded people. Hurry up and change into a female supporting character.
Calm down. Look, talk about life.
Find friends. Chapter 1783. Tang Yi finally went to the same school as Tanghua. She thought that she would have a chance to catch Tang Kui and Tanghua whenever they met. At that time, it would be easy and natural for her to get close to them. However, she didn't expect that Tang Kui didn't come to see Tanghua for several days. She couldn't do that every day. She didn't want to take the initiative to see Tanghua in the school. Now her appearance hadn't recovered, and she still had to wear a wig to cover the ugly scar on her head. Tanghua, on the other hand, was very attractive just by standing there. Wouldn't she attract a lot of attention when she was with her? Tanghua was called the untouchable campus belle by the boys in the school. She didn't look good because she was in a coma for several months, and there were scars on her head. After entering the school, the response was mediocre, as if no one noticed her. This kind of feeling was not very good. It would take several months for her hair to grow back. Tang Yi often went to the snack bar of Qin Xian and Zhaowen. She mainly went there to see if Tanghua was there. But they were not in the same class, so it was not easy to meet her. She thought that she didn't meet Tang Kui to see Tanghua, so she was relieved. Until one day, she accidentally saw Tanghua get out of Tang Kui's car outside the school gate, and her face slightly changed. She pretended to greet them. "Brother, Guohua, where have you been?" If Tang Kui only took Tanghua to play and eat, it was really wrong. Anyway, she was also a member of the family and Tang Kui's sister in name. Tang Kui's hand paused as he closed the door. He raised his head and glanced at Tang Yi, who was still questioning him, and said with a smile, "We went to the company. We just sent Guohua back." Hearing this, Tang Yi's face changed greatly. Although it was only a second, neither of them missed it. Didn't Mom and Dad say that the company is very strict? Tang Yi turned to Tanghua and said, "Guohua, I know you are curious about what the company is doing. But if you ask your elder brother to take you to the company, it will bring him a lot of trouble and bad influence." Tang Kui's expression was a little strange, and the corners of his lips curved slightly. Why did this woman have such a wild imagination? Would he, Tang Kui, leave such an obvious weakness for others to use against him? Tanghua silently took out an internship certificate and showed it to Tang Yi. "Xiao Yi, you must have misunderstood me. I just happen to know that the company is recruiting interns." So he asked his brother about this matter. His brother said that this time they needed to take an exam to recruit interns. "Today they brought me to take an exam. My luck was pretty good. I passed the exam and got my internship certificate." Tang Yi originally wanted to continue scolding him, but she swallowed it back into her stomach. Internship exam? Does an intern have to take an exam? Originally, Guohua wanted to go to the company for an internship, so I didn't think there was a need to take the exam. But she said she wanted to give it a try. It just so happened that she was interested in this aspect, so I took her to try it out. I didn't expect that Guohua is better than I imagined. Tang Kui saw Tang Yi's expression was no longer calm, so he continued to say, "Xiao Yi, you just went to college. Enjoy your college life first. Don't worry about your work. Every year, the company will recruit interns. When you are a sophomore or a junior, if you are willing to come to the company for an internship, you can take the internship exam to join the company, or you can directly join the company if you don't like the trouble. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, you need to be calm. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant." Chapter 1784. Either way, it's not easy to stay in the company. In fact, only the family members of the senior management of the company could get in through the back door. These family members often couldn't stay in the company and were arranged to work in other companies. The only way for outsiders to get in was to pass the exam and become an intern in the company. The competition was quite harsh. Only 1 or 2 out of 100 people could pass the exam. In the end, as long as they didn't court death, they could stay in the company in the end. Those who got in through the exam and those who got in through the back door would be assigned to different departments. The senior management of the family members were actually sent here for gilding, so the department was not too important. Unless they made up their minds to develop in the company, they could also stay in the company if they passed the exam. But most of them couldn't bear the hardship and chose to work in other companies. Tang was said that she got in through the exam. With Tang Yi's self-esteem, she would not be willing to get in through the back door in the future. She might also choose to pass the internship exam. Those who didn't take the internship exam didn't know how difficult it was to get in. She did this because she didn't want Tang Yi to follow her everywhere. Whether it was Tang Gua or Tang Kuei, they didn't want Tang Yi to work in that company, even if it was through the back door. Therefore, the two fake siblings were on the same page. What was more incredible was that Tang Yi found out about it before they told her. That was good. They didn't have to waste their time. Congratulations, Guagua. Tang Yi forced a smile. You are really good. You can pass the exam and get in the company. Not bad. I believe you can do it too. Tang Gua encouraged her with a smile. Tang Yi also thought that she could do it. She took a deep breath and said, I will try it next year. If she tried it now, she would definitely fail. As a freshman, she didn't know anything.
Who knew what the exam would be?
She planned to study it carefully and find out what the exam would be if she wanted to work in the company. Brother, Guagua, you are all here. Do you want to have a meal together? Tang Gua saw that Tang Kuei was a little unhappy, so she said, I have a class soon. I can't go. I have a meeting here, Tang Kuei said. He didn't say anything. He was really busy every day. If one were to ask him why he had the time to send Tang Gua home, he could only squeeze out the time to send his own sister home. As for Tang Yi, he had no obligation to be nice to her. He could be nice to whoever he wanted. What did her discomfort have to do with him? Well, you can go ahead. Tang Yi wanted to maintain her smile, but she didn't know that the more she tried to maintain it, the uglier it became. Tang Yi also went back to her dormitory. He quickly turned on his computer and searched for information on Tang Technologies. However, in the end, there was only some rough and concise information. There was no other useful information. Even on the various web browsers, there were very few posts discussing Tang Technologies. She tried to post about the internship exam at Tang Family Technologies on an NN forum. She planned to ask a lot of people so that she could be prepared. As soon as the post was posted, there were indeed quite a few people who liked it. Many people seemed to know something, but it was all on the surface. They knew even less than she did. Half an hour later, she went to check the post and found that her account had been frozen. The reason is that your account will be suspended for 30 days due to the irregularity of your post. Tang Yi, if you want to chat with more like-minded people, please be a female supporting character. Calm down, look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1785. Tang Yi couldn't figure it out. What was wrong with her post? She had no choice but to check the appropriate post. He followed the instructions word by word and registered a new account. Here he posted the question he had asked earlier. A few minutes ago, everything was fine. But she found that the post was gone. Then, her account seemed to be blocked again. At this time, Tang Yi had some doubts. Was the content she posted sensitive words that couldn't be discussed on the internet? Was that why there was so little news about the Tang Technology Company on the internet? She registered a new account again. Without looking at the keyboard, she casually typed a few words and directly posted it. When she saw the post, she found that the words she casually typed were, I'm ugly. There were already replies under the post. Girl, tell us how ugly you are. Post a photo and let us see. It was the first time she found such an honest person on the internet. I'm also curious how ugly you are. You can't even look at it, but you still want to post it. Half an hour later, the post was not deleted and the account was not blocked. But Tang Yi's random post was pushed to the top of the Weibo and was recommended to the front page. The system had been paying attention to the new news on the internet. It knew what Tang Yi did and told Tanghua. Tanghua asked with a smile. She might as well ask her family, or even me if she wants to search for these things. According to our current relationship, I won't refuse her. With her self-esteem, she probably wouldn't ask the host. It was even more impossible for her to ask Tang Kuei. Besides, she just went to college. She wouldn't ask the family Tang. She wanted to learn these things secretly, and then amaze the world with a single brilliant feat the system hummed, and said, I think it's more like building a car behind closed doors. Tao Yu also seemed to know that Tanghua had entered the Tang Technology Company for an internship. Now, he had a better chance. Tang Kuei couldn't pick up Tanghua every time. So, he could only pick her up on the way for the rest of the time. Once or twice was fine, but after 2 more times, Tang Kuei also found something wrong. For example, one day, he suddenly drove outside the school and happened to see Tanghua and Tao Yu standing together. They were about to get in the car. He got out of the car and walked up to them with a smile. Tanghua didn't look surprised, but Tao Yu was different. At that time, he wanted to jump up and ask, Damn, why is Tang Kuei here now? The corners of Tang Kuei's lips curled into a smile as he said, Tao Yu, what a coincidence. It seems like you've been quite free recently. At present, many cities in the country have gradually begun to separate their garbage. Don't you plan to get a few more cities in your hands? Tao Yu smiled. I've already handed it over to my subordinates. The plan has already been finalized. If they can't do it, then they can just leave. Oh, you're quite capable. No wonder he had the time to kidnap his sister here. What are you doing here? Where are you taking Guogua? Tao Yu said with a straight face. I was just passing by. I heard that Xiaogua has been accepted as an intern in your company, so I'll send her there. It's on the way. Tang Kuei narrowed his eyes. I'm free today, so I don't need you.
You can go away.
I'm going to take Xiaogua to the company. Just as Tang Kuei finished speaking, his phone rang. He picked it up and frowned slightly when he heard the voice on the other side. Tao Yu's ears were sharp and he accidentally heard the content. He smiled and said, Tang Kuei, you seem to be very busy. It's more important to deal with urgent matters. I just checked. If you get someone to book a plane ticket and drive there now, you should be just in time. Don't worry about Xiaogua. I'll send her there. Tang Kuei said, All right, I'll leave it to you today. He walked in front of Tao Yu and patted him hard on the shoulder. He said in a low and threatening voice, It's fine as long as it's not on the way every day. Tao Yu said, Of course not. It's not on the way every day. It's on the way every day. It's on the way 6 days a week. It's almost not on the way every day. It's on the way every day. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, hurry up and change into a female supporting character. Calm down. Look, chat about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1786. After Tanghua became an intern at Tang Enterprise, she spent less time at the snack bar. As long as she had time, she would go to the company. Tang Kuei tried his best to take Tanghua to the company.
But Tao Yu was like a fly.
He was everywhere. As long as he didn't have time, Tao Yu would take his sister away. Thinking about it made him angry. Guogua, why don't I arrange a driver for you? On the weekend, when the family was eating, Tang Kuei suggested, when you're busy, let the driver take you to the company. Lin Yinghui and Tang Yonghua nodded in agreement. Even if their baby girl was an intern, it was nothing to have a driver. Actually, it's not that troublesome. No need. Tanghua refused clearly. Tang Kuei looked at her deeply. You really don't need it. No need. I'm fine as I am now. Tanghua expressed again. Tang Kuei was very conflicted. If this sister was really the original sister, he had prevented the other party from getting close to Tao Yu, so there was nothing to say. But this sister was not the original sister. Just like him, she was a wily old fox who had traveled through many worlds. If she didn't want to, he couldn't interfere. Although he was a little uncomfortable. In fact, He was very happy to have such a sister who had the same interests and ability. That Taoyu was able to steal her attention every single time. As an older brother, he didn't feel good at all. What happened to the mission that he said was to spoil his sister?
Okay.
Tang Kui compromised and didn't force anything. Instead, he said, Guogua, I think you should take advantage of the time to get your driver's license. After you get your driver's license, brother will buy you a car. It will be much easier to go anywhere, and you won't have to arrange a driver. Okay, brother's suggestion is good. Tang Kui smiled and agreed with the suggestion. Tang Kui was happy. When Guogua got her driver's license, he would buy her a few more cars. When Guogua drove to the company every day, that guy called Taoyu wouldn't have an excuse to see Guogua. Tang Yi looked at the two siblings, happy and harmonious, and her heart was filled with jealousy. She used to look forward to seeing Tang Kui when she was in school. When she was in high school, she went to the best school in the city. It was a closed school, and she could only go home on weekends. She was looking forward to it because she would be able to see Tang Kui when she got home. Nowadays, what she was most afraid of was the weekends because Tang Kui and Tanggua, whether they were sitting at the dinner table, walking in the garden downstairs, doing morning exercises together, or discussing something in the study room, they were all so harmonious and harmonious. These two were the real siblings, and she couldn't get a word in edgewise. In particular, Tang Kui's unabashed love for Tanggua made her feel even worse. Xiaoyi, you're an adult now. If you have time, you should get your driver's license first. Lin Yinghui smiled and said, when the time comes, what kind of car do you and Guogua want? We'll go and see together. It had to be said that the family Tang couple was really nice. When the whole family was there, they all paid attention to Tang Yi. However, Tang Yi could only see that Tang Kui was cold to her and intimate to Tanggua. Tang Yi came back to her senses and said, I will, Mom. After that, she looked at Tang Kui's position. Tang Kui didn't seem to notice her, nor did he say that he would buy her a car. She felt even worse. If you want to talk with more like-minded people, you have to be calm. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1787. Tang Kui said, what is that woman thinking? Is she wondering why I'm not happy to give her a car? Why should I give it to her? Why should I give it to Guogua? Why is she so beautiful? 111 echoed. Host, just pretend you didn't see it. I'm full. Tang Yi really couldn't stay at the dinner table. She put down the bowl and chopsticks, politely said goodbye to them, and turned to go back to her room. Lin Yinghui and Tang Yonghua asked her a few questions. Tang Yi said that she didn't feel uncomfortable, but she didn't have an appetite recently. After she went upstairs, Lin Yinghui looked at Tang Kui helplessly and whispered, Kui, I know you're close to Guogua, but you've always been distant with Xiaoyi. I won't force you to be close to Xiaoyi. We don't object to you doting on Guogua. In fact, we're very happy. But you can discuss this kind of thing in private. There's no need to talk about it. She could see that Tang Yi seemed a little unhappy. Thinking about it, it should be what Tang Kui said just now that made Tang Yi sad. But Kui was like this. There was really no need for him to be fair. Everyone was biased, even themselves. Many times, they also wanted to be nicer to Tanggua, but they were afraid that Tang Yi would think too much. After all, she was the daughter they had raised for more than 10 years. She was like their biological daughter. It was not easy to be a parent. They could only consider Tang Yi's face as much as possible. Tang Kui only doted on Tanggua, and they were happy. After all, as parents, with Tang Yi's involvement, they really couldn't treat Tanggua better than Tang Yi in public. Mom, in fact, it's the same. Whether it's in the open or in the dark, she will always know. There was always a difference between people. Guogua is my biological sister, and we have been separated for more than 10 years. Shouldn't I treat her better? What's wrong with buying a car? Even if I sell one a day, I'm willing to. I like it, and I dote on it. If I can't drive it, the house and warehouse will be scrapped. It's also my goodwill. Family Tang couple, hearing this, was funny and speechless. The reason why they didn't care about Tanghua on the surface. It was also through Tanghua's return for more than a year that they realized how outstanding their daughter was. Originally, they had planned to leave Tangkor in Tang Kuei's hands. They had once considered training Tang Yi. In the end, he found out that Tang Yi's grades were not bad, but she was not good at some aspects. She had no talent, so she could not manage Tang Group. Tang Yi was the same as those little girls from ordinary families. She didn't have a keen business sense. She didn't pay attention to the things they inadvertently put in the house. He had been with the family Tang for more than a decade, but he had no idea what the company was involved in. When Tang Yi chose to study liberal arts without hesitation, they basically determined her future path. So when Tang Yi said that she wanted to learn all kinds of talents, they readily agreed. She was enrolled in the 4 arts classes. Many of the girls in this class were already learning about the family business at this age and were focusing on nurturing them in this aspect. Their Guoguo was different. She had relied on her own abilities to become an intern in the company. In a short period of time, she had adapted to the environment and even made some achievements. At that time, the couple had already made up their minds. In the future, the Tang Group would be jointly managed by their 2 daughters. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, you should be calm. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. Chapter 1788. As for Tang Yi, as long as she was the daughter of the family Tang family, she wouldn't have to worry about food and drink for the rest of her life. She could be assigned to an idle position in another department. If she didn't want to work, she could open a shop. Dad, Mom, you have too many scruples. Tang Kuei thought that he should teach this pair of 2 kind parents a lesson. They probably didn't know that Tang Yi might have already decided to exchange their lives for her love. Guoguo was lost when she was a child, and you brought her back by accident. The love of her parents and the superior little princess life helped her get rid of the fate of being an orphan. Tang Kuei paused for a while and then continued. What about Guoguo? If she hadn't met Uncle Chun and Aunt Zhao, who are such kind people, I don't know what would have happened to her. Even so, Guoguo has lost a lot. At a young age, the fear of being lost and the pain of growing up without her biological parents. When she came back, her biological parents had to be fair to her for the sake of their adopted daughter's feelings. Dad, Mom, I think it's unfair to Guoguo. Tang Wu didn't expect that Tang Kuei would say this so straightforwardly. There was nothing wrong with the family Tang couple. They really loved the original owner of the body. It was just that they were a little soft-hearted to their relatives. Therefore, standing in her position, it was really inappropriate for her to say these words. In her opinion, the better they treated Tang Yi today, the more disappointed they would be in Tang Yi in the future. It could be regarded as a kind punishment, so she didn't ask about it. Anyway, she didn't care. She remembered those who treated her well. She also remembered those who didn't treat her well. It was not a problem whether it was more or less. Dad, Mom, think about it. If you do this, where will Guoguo be? Guoguo doesn't care, but I care. I don't care how you treat Xiao Yi. That's your wish. As for how I treat Guoguo, it's none of your business. Guoguo is my little sister. If I want to pamper her, I'll pamper her. How I pamper her, where, and when I pamper her is my business. When Tang Kuei said this, he glanced at Tanghua. It was as if he was telling her, look, in this world, only your brother will spoil you. As for Tao Yu, can he compare with your brother? Lin Yinghui and Tang Yonghua fell silent after hearing this. For about 5 minutes, they looked at Tanghua guiltily. They had thought wrongly. The one they should compensate the most was Guoguo. Dad, Mom, you should understand now, right? You don't owe Xiao Yi anything. If you really want to talk about it, shouldn't she be the one who should be grateful? If they were sensible, they would understand how you dote on Guoguo. I don't want all of you to carefully maintain the harmony on the surface to level that bowl of water. If she really feels uncomfortable and throws a tantrum because you dote on Guoguo, then you've most likely raised an ingrate. At this time, the couple had already thought it through and apologized to Tanghua. Tangwa naturally didn't care too much about these things. Seeing the clear look on their faces, it seemed that they had decided on something. She gently raised her eyebrows. Could Tang Yi bear it? Tang Kue was right. There was nothing wrong with the couple being partial to their lost daughter. As long as they didn't mistreat Tang Yi, she had no right to question it. The couple served Tangwa and Tang Kue with food. They also said that they would also send Tangwa a car. Tangwa and Tang Kue looked at each other and finally glanced at the stairs from the corner of their eyes. If you want to chat with more like-minded people, quickly change into a female supporting role. Calm down. Look, talk about life. Find a confidant. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.